Warning: the following contains opinions that you might not agree with. It may also contain too much positivity that you might not be able to handle, but in all seriousness, viewer discretion is advised for the following program.
Next question, bro. Do you identify yourself as a minimalist or
Minimalist? Is it, or maximalist? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I honestly think it depends. I mean, I need to think about it. I never thought about it like that.
I would expect you to say, I identify myself as a bicycle.
As what?
Identify.
As a bicycle.
I identify myself as a misogynist.
Ooh.
No, like, I mean, I'm just kidding. Don't cancel me. Yeah, don't cancel me. Even if you cancel, you can't cancel me anyway because I don't have any social media. Try me, bitch.
Yeah, he actually Subhash look like Daniel Radcliffe in World War I Gear. That's his picture.
Oh yeah. If he actually shaved a little bit more in the, maybe look like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just need to lose a bit more weight. My face looks round now.
Okay, let's see during February IPPT.
Okay, February when we meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, back to the question, right? Minimalist or maximalist? Okay. I think I'm a minimalist in terms of. Okay, consumerism can be grouped into like several categories, right? Environmental effects, social effects, psychological effects, economical effects, political effects. Okay, so on an individual level, it's only social, psychological. So I'm a psychological.
Okay,
I think more of a socially minimalist, but psychologically maximalist. Like social is you tend to focus on material possessions, right, over relationships.
Yeah.
So in terms of social, I'm trying to be a minimalist on that. You know, that's why I deleted social media and all that. Yeah, I don't have a lot of contacts with a lot of people, and I think that's a drawback of going very minimalist, right? You delete all social medias, like all avenue. There's no Instagram, there's no Facebook, there's no Snapchat, and all that. I think the one drawback is that you lose connections. You can't just talk to your primary school friend. You can just send a meme and just strike a conversation. It's very hard, and you can't go back. Also, like imagine you send a friend request to a person who you knew in primary school. It's very awkward. I think people should when they quit social media, they should consider that as well. You can't go back. You can't ever go back. So I'm in that sense I'm a minimalist because I'm not planning to go back.
Yes.
So I sort of regret that, but not really, because I regret I regret the lost opportunity of connecting with primary school friends and all that. But I'm actually happy in the sense that I monitor my mood, right? I monitor my mood changes every day. I'm like, not every day, but when I remember it, I'll just record it down. So the first 2 months after I deleted social media, my mood actually took a turn for the worse. Maybe because I'm so like addicted to it and all that. But I eventually got better. It went from on a scale, we went from red to yellow to now like pale green, sometimes very green. I think overall my emotional health has been very stable. Back then I was not bombarded by negative posts, I guess. The last time I read the news was a long time. It's like 3 months ago. I don't read newspapers anymore, and honestly I don't really care. Yeah, so I think there's a psychological aspect. Psychologically, you're maximized. Your well-being is maximized. My feelings of dissatisfaction has gone down, and unhappiness has gone down, and my feelings of guilt, shame, for not being able to keep up with the constant need, right, to buy things to I don't know, when there was a movement in to eat the Japanese ice cream Chatterze. I don't know. I didn't really feel like FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
I think generally I'm happier, but I lost a few potential connections with my past. I think it's a trade-off that is good for me for now, but maybe 10 years from now, who knows, man. It might tend to a very big regret, but I accept it. Yeah.
Same.
So I'm a social minimalist and psychological maximalist. Yeah. What about you, Jones? You also quit social media, right? Do you share my feelings?
I share your feelings as well, but I don't regret my decision because I already outweigh the pros and cons.
Yeah. I'm not regretting. Also, just saying I'm saying I might regret it. It's been more than a year, so still not. I mean, like almost a year, so it's not much of a regret as of now.
No, I realized that I also like don't really give a shit about what other people does. I mean, apart from y'all lah. And if I truly want to really catch up with y'all, then you see this podcast, our group, our WhatsApp group, or we meet up. That it builds the personal connection. If you remove the social media aspect from it, and if I lose certain friends while quitting social media, then so be it lor. As I'm a firm believer that as you grow older, your social circle gets smaller as well. So honestly, I don't really give a shit. Yeah, I agree with you on that notion. In terms of materialistic things, like objects, I'm slightly more maximalist. I tend to need certain products for different situations. So for example, if I have a pair of blue jeans, right, I must pair it with like a very nice pair of sneakers or something like that. But if I have another pair of pants, right, I need to pair up with dress shoes, for example. I don't use the same shoes. So I'm not a minimalist in that aspect. In that, yeah, I need certain products for different kind of situation. Yeah, I tend not to reuse stuff for different situations.
I think there's a very big misconception, right? In that minimalist means that you go absolute minimalist, but people have to realize that it's a spectrum. You can be minimalist in certain things, right? Like, for example, no social media, and you don't buy as many toys, or board games or whatever. But you tend to focus more on the stuff that you care about. For example, people care about paintings, right? So they collect paintings, artworks, and they like it, and they don't mind having a lot of it because it connects to them in a special way. But there can be some very useless things, right? I can't think of anything on the top of my mind.
iPhone.
Yes, you don't need a good phone every year. You just need a one phone that need to last unless you like sacrifice the performance. So you need to upgrade it anyways. So just go for the latest one. But it's some people are very niche also. So that's why people collect wines, because they're very passionate about wines. Dresses also, like suits, the quality of material that's in the suits. Yeah, some people collect notebooks as well of different shapes and texture. So some people like the texture. When you open the book, you can smell it and all that. People like it. So just go for it, man. You can be a minimalist, but you can still enjoy the little things in life, like we mentioned earlier we discussed earlier in the podcast, right? You can notice little things in life, but you can still be a minimalist.
Yeah, I guess you have to strike a balance, lah.
Correct.
Yeah. Right. It feels comfortable living under a rock, but sometimes it can be too comfortable. Yeah.
You better be a Patrick than a Squidward.
No, but I guess in your case, or both our case rather, in terms of social media, Because right now I'm going through a module which required me to create a Facebook account just to do some assignments, and then with LinkedIn as well, to enhance my job prospects. So I guess you can't really cut out social media completely.
Yeah, that's true. I have LinkedIn also for school purposes. Haven't logged in since I created it.
But if not for school, I honestly wouldn't create lah. Maybe LinkedIn lah, maybe lah, cause job mah. But I wouldn't have created Facebook mah. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Never Facebook again.
Yeah. so that's where we strike the balance lah. I mean, is the balance between, do you actually want to live under a rock and not create Facebook, but you sacrifice your grades, or you create Facebook and then just get through the assignment and you quit subsequently,
Yeah. I think one more drawback also that if you're single, you're potentially missing out on meeting a future partner. Yeah, because most of people just DM in social media and all that. Yeah, you're sacrificing that also. So you'll hold a weak card for Life Jones with me also.
Actually, I actually prepared not to get married. I don't know, but we'll see what the future holds. Huh?
Yeah.
Sam?
What about you, Sam? Are you minimalist or maximalist?
Dude, like whenever you guys talk about creating social media, like I just tend to reflect like about the possibilities of what if I actually didn't went to multimedia arts and actually went to a very structured course. I mean, structures as in like how business are, like the other courses which are very like disorder in it. Whereas if you're going to a school, like into a art school, or maybe basically a major that's for art, it's very like so-called very, excuse me, it's so-called very complex compared to those normal schools which are the engineering, where it's just one standard answer. Whereas for art school, it's more about like the creativity, that kind of thing, where you need inspiration, and it's not just like one. It's not just one. Just one answer. What are the two aspects? This one is psychologically, and then there's the other one.
Social.
Social.
Yeah.
Social, yeah.
I think my field requires me to be both a maximalist in both aspects, both psychologically and both socially. And honestly, I'm trying to be as ideally maximalist. Like it's not fully maximalist, but like in an ideal.
So like medium minimalist.
Medium minimalist. I just want to strike a balance with because I really think that like in my perspective, I really think that you shouldn't be too on the left side or on the right side. You can't be either of those ones. I mean, sure, you can be an extremist. Extremist. Like, you can be like an extremist in one side, but I feel like if you're in one side, then you're missing out on the other.
Yeah.
So I do consider that as like a con. If let's say I turn into one side only, but I really do think that if you're in the middle, you so-called gain both things at once, and you don't miss out on anything. So it's not that I don't want to miss out on anything. It's that I guess it will be more convenient for me to in in the middle, so that I feel like you don't um I feel like in terms of social love, I don't feel like I need to be friends with you. It's more like, oh, you want to be friends with me, then you have the option to down to contact with me and stuff like that. But but if I'm going to cut off the possibilities of what could be, like for example, of what clients um I'll be getting and stuff like that, then of course I wouldn't miss that out lah. So
Yeah.
That's like the drawback if actually went into being an extremist. Um, as for the psychological aspect of it, I I try my best to be as maximalist as possible, because I feel like knowledge. I mean, you don't really need to know everything, because I think the more you know, the more you know. So called have like a negative aspect. Um, I mean, not saying that I should be ignorant and not learn about these kinds of things, but it's rather than uh, it's rather that you know the things that you need, not the things that you know that uh, that you need to have everything like inside your head, that kind of thing. Because like you don't want to clutter your opinions and such, and you just want to stick to what you've planned,
Mm.
or what you actually plan. And yeah, I mean, I guess this whole thought process with how I actually decide where I stand is, I actually gotta share this. Like there was one time where my dad was actually listening to the podcast I was listening to, and like he told like I asked him about his opinion. He didn't really like the podcast that I'm listening to. I'm not gonna name the podcast. I think I'm not trying to spread hate on thing. Just that he says that uh, you don't really actually need to learn everything that you hear, and you don't really actually have to know. Um, there's you should actually practice. You should actually practice selective hearing, and it's yeah. That's why I said I'm not trying to learn or anything. Just that it's better that you don't rather than you know, and you you negative, like there's a negative impact that so called impacts you, you knowing it. And he told me that instead of doing uh like learning those kinds of things, why not expose yourself with something that's positive? Because there's so much negativity in the world. Why would you dwell on what's negative, and have another have another perspective in life where you don't, where like I think the more you expose yourself into uh, more positive things, then um, the more different you are from the others. Because I'm also not saying to be naive. Like I'm aware that there are bad things that are happening. Just that you need to have this mindset that I'm not trying to say cope also lah, but um it's more like the drive, the drive that you can actually do things, like the drive that you know that you're gonna be okay, and it's like self assuring, and you wouldn't think too much as well when you're doing things by your own by your own morals lah. But yeah, yeah, that's what I think with how I identify myself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah, I think it's interesting because among the three of us, you're the only maximalist. But I think it's yeah, like you mentioned, it's a good thing. It's required of you, right? And I think if you want to go deeper, it also is something that you enjoy, right?
Yeah. As I said, it's you should do like selective, or you shouldn't learn everything. Just like
Yeah,
it's selective.
correct.
Yeah.
But you're selectively maximalist. But yeah, I think the very common theme, right, is that you do stuff in a way that you should maximize your happiness,
Yeah.
both in the now and in the future. I mean, like most people just think about, okay, I should go minimalist because it helps me in the future. It helps me with delay self gratification and all that. But what they should realize that is you need to be self satisfied in the now also. Yeah, but of course, different people have different approaches. So me and Jones found it in creating social media and doing the stuff we love more. And but you've continued to use social media, and if you're clearly happier because of it, then I think you should continue also.
Yeah.
Right.
It's subjective lah with
correct.
the goals you have in life. Yeah. All right. Okay, gonna ask you. What are your limits to the consumption of? I know you guys don't use social media, but if you happen to actually use social media, how much would you limit?
You mean the time?
Yeah.
I think it's more of a attention thing and more than a time thing.
That is true.
Yeah. Okay. Let me think. I think if you're purely to just keep up with the people, right? Yeah, I don't know. Once every 4 hours, just check it. But definitely not early in the morning. But like 3 or 4 hours after that, you just check the stories if you really wanna keep track of what your friends are doing. Check the DMs, answer it every 4 hours. I think it's a good timeline, right? You won't be too late to answer. You won't be too early to answer also. And you can check the stories. You can check the posts. You can check the DMs every 4 hours. But after that, you just stop it, I guess. You're not engaging the explore page. You're not engaging with the suggestions, right? Unless you really want to, like, you want to form new connection, you want to find new people, then yeah, sure. But honestly, most people should just limit to this one. Every 4 hours, just check your DMs or send DMs. If you want to like share memes, right, then you should just follow them and it will show up on the feed. But I think one should just stay clear of the explore page. I think this is where most people go wrong. You just go into like a cycle of finding new posts. They're searching for new stuff in the explore page, new dopamine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a more of attention thing than of a time thing.
Yeah.
May I actually ask, what's the effect of just starting your day with social media?
I think one is that I think sleep is sort of a meditative state, right? You wake up, your mind is entirely clean. It's like a fresh slate, and you can actually dictate your thoughts to do stuff that you actually want to do. So you might as well start off with doing the hard stuff. I don't know, wake up, do some push-ups, shower, like make sure it's like very ordered, right? If you can structure it in such a way that it is very ordered, I think the effect will spill out into the rest of the day also. But if you are lying in bed, wake up, first thing you see is Instagram posts, check DMs and all that. You're not thinking about yourself. You're not self-centered. I mean, like in a sense, in this case, self-centered is a good thing. You're not self-actualizing. You're not realizing. You're not acknowledging your own thoughts, your social thoughts. So you're rewiring your brain to think that you need the dopamine. You need to connect with other people. You need to think of what other people think of you. I think yeah. So if you're starting with a clean slate, might as well start with a action that encourages your own structureness. In a world that is consumed by consumerism. You know, you go what I'm saying. And it's like it's very hard to structure it in a sentence, but you go what I'm saying, right? Yeah.
Okay. So Jones, your limits to the consumption of social media.
I think it depends on your consumption and what you do, which led to the previous question that we talked about. If in your case for Sam, if you find solace in social media, right, because of your work, then you probably can limit yourself to what Subhash has mentioned for about once every 4 hours or something like that. And if you're very busy and your work revolves around social media, then by all means go ahead lah. But then you don't deviate to the explore page like what Subhash mentioned. Mindless scrolling is the worst culprit, especially on TikTok and Instagram. But yeah, if you have the discipline to stay clear away from mindless scrolling, then go ahead lah. But in the case of Subhash and I, where we quit Instagram, right, and social media, I guess there's nothing really much to do. But then again, because I opened an Instagram account for my dropshipping store and the podcast and my Facebook page for my Facebook account for work, right, I will only limit to once a week. So for example, whenever we have our weekly uploads, right, that's where I will check. I check the status of posts, whether that is nice or not, what the reach, what the comments, and that's it. I don't really see other posts as well. Facebook posts I only see once a week. What are the posts that I can engage in based on my assignment wise? What are the posts that I can create so that it can reach out to my fellow classmates? But that's about it. But before I quit social media, I think I will only use like one if it's just twice a day, right? One session will be about like 5 minutes. Yeah, I've mentioned this before, and I think Subhash remember very clearly. In our bunks wherever we come out from training, right, I would just like scroll my phone for like a good 5 minutes only, and then that's it. I remember with Song and some people would be like, "Wow, you only scroll your phone like 5 minutes. What else do you actually do?" So they're like, "Nothing more, like really nothing much." That's how I limit myself.
Yeah.
And again, as I mentioned, I'm not so bothered with what other people are doing, unless I actively and curious and want to catch up with them. But I don't want to sound so cynical in a way where I don't really give a shit what y'all two do lah. It's just if I'm really interested, then I will ask and seek out lah. But it's good I mean, because me quitting social media, the benefits of it sort of phases out good phases of bad relationships and prioritizes the good friendship and relationship, and which one that I want to what kind of friends I want to hold dear to the rest of my life lah, and it's your lah. So yeah, that's how
That's
I did it
very
myself.
sweet. But then just a disclaimer to everyone who's listening: Jones is a sort of a social reclusive on the social media. Even before like he quit, right, he was only using like he mentioned like 5 to 10 minutes per day.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure nobody does that.
Yeah.
Like those who use social media, at least like they will scroll at least like 10, 20, 50 minutes. Well, if they are very chronic addict, right, they may go over an hour. Yeah, so
That's the mindless scrolling part.
Yeah, there's a mindless scrolling part, exactly. So you're looking for a new hit of dopamine, and dopamine is if addiction is a currency, dopamine is like the peg of the currency is pegged to dopamine.
Yeah, the especially the part where you mentioned about the morning routine when you just wake up and you just mindlessly scrolling. Well, that's damn unhealthy, yeah. Because then you really get sidetracked, and then just scroll 30 minutes, then scroll 1 hour, 2 hour, then your life will be like, oh shit, I could have done so much more in this 1 or 2 more hours.
Yeah. I mean, like I mentioned, it's like a meditative state, right? When you're sleeping.
Yeah.
So when you're meditating, your mind is pretty clear. So when you wake up, it's sort of similar feeling as well, unless you're having a nightmare, lah. But in the nightmare, you'll forget after like 2 or 3 minutes after waking up.
Yeah, correct.
You forget it. So you're still in a clean state of mind. So whatever you do, it has a momentum on its own. Whatever structured things you do, if it's properly structured, you should carry on to the rest of the day until you go back to sleep again. Yeah, it's like Newton's law. Things in objects in motion will stay in motion unless a irreversible object. Unless it what? Okay, I forgot.
Like
I should really go study physics. So let me just Google.
Is it like in a way, if objects are in motion, then they'll stay in motion, but unless you sort of interfere with it?
Yes, correct. Unless yes, body remains at rest or in motion at a constant speed and straight line unless acted upon by a force. Yeah, so it's like a momentum, right? If when you structure your day, it creates a momentum that you just you're carrying on for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, like one day is not much big of a deal. I mean, like everyone can do it, but imagine doing that for 1 year. Your entire life will be different, bro.
Yeah, bro. A lot of time wasting, especially in the morning, where
but,
I would say the most productive.
Correct. But then the first thing, so you quit social media. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that big of a deal to adjust it, right? Because you were only using like 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But then I was using a couple hours per day. So for me, it was a radical change. Because up until like 2 months after it, I was still experiencing some withdrawal symptoms. I'll be holding my phone, but there's nothing on it. I'll be like scrolling the home page just to get. It was that bad.
Wow.
So I would consider it as a withdrawal symptom. So and what accompanies that is the boredom. Right. You used to have like constant rush of dopamine, but now you have zero. Your baseline dopamine level just went to zero. So you're like, I think it can be constructive. This is a phase that will make a person create another account and go back. It's a phase that will make you or break you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's important to do stuff that you like, right? To replace the hours that you'll be spending on.
Yes.
For me, I chose to read books. Yeah, I will read books, watch YouTube. I mean, like YouTube is social media, but I will watch these prolonged lectures, right?
Yeah.
There's like MIT, OCW, OpenCourseware, Harvard MOOCs. Yeah, these are lectures by universities, top tier lecturers, made available for free. Yeah, I'll be watching lectures on psychology, sociology. Yeah, I'm not good at it, but it feels it's like a different sort of dopamine.
Yeah.
You learn new stuff.
Yeah.
Learning new stuff, engaging, doing things that you never did before also creates dopamine that sort of replaces that of social media, but it is never that high.
It's a healthy alternative.
For example, if scrolling social media, you get like 50 points of dopamine, and if you quit everything, it goes back to 0 points. But if you go back to watch like lectures or read a book, it goes back up by 10 points, 20 points. It never hits the same level. Yeah, so it is hard work. Like imagine you just holding a phone scroll, you get dopamine, but now you're actively listening, paying attention. It's hard work.
Yeah.
You go from the easy work to hard work, but you get dopamine.
Yeah.
And a lesser form also. So I think this is a drawback, and people should, whoever trying to lose daily social media, go back to caveman. It should be aware of.
Uga booga.
Uga booga nigga. Yeah.
How about?
Alright. Okay, going on to the next question. What's your limits towards buying products?
Limits towards what? Sorry.
Like buying products, like anything, like, home, like water bottle, what kind of like materialistic stuff.
I think just do what makes you happy, man. Of course, our money is limited, lah. So if you ask me, I would only buy things that I need. But if you ask like Elon Musk, right, he can just buy the entire store and doesn't have to worry about it. And the thing is, he doesn't care. You think he cares about consumerism? He has everything in the world. He can just buy anything, and so his priorities is different. We like, I think there's a difference. Like, the higher you go in terms of the wealth you have, the less shit you give about consumerism and the dopamine levels, because you have everything. You just go for the best one. So you don't have to bat an eye. You don't have to spend time think about whether you should buy it or not. You just buy and see if it improves your life, or just throw away. You can afford to throw away and not bat an eye. You don't need to worry about the cost. Yeah. So money is a factor, but for a normal person like you and me, I think you should really care about, if you don't have enough money, just think about can you afford it to throw away once you bought it, and whether you use it I don't know, 1+ year from now, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. If not using it in 5 years time, then you should think 10 times before buying it. Yeah, will you use a comb in 10 years time, Samuel? I mean, the plastic is still gonna be there. Would you?
Yeah. I mean, if I have help,
Yeah, you won't replace it unless you break it, right? The comb, the teeth falls off.
I mean, I would honestly, I'm not really worried about comb. I was like, I feel like
so you can afford to go and buy a new one.
No, not as in buy a new one, but still use the same comb.
Even if the teeth are broken.
I mean, if some of the teeth are still there, yeah, I use
Yeah, so I mean, it's very simple. People try to overcomplicate things. It's very simple. Will you be using it? Can you afford it to throw away?
Yeah.